Hello friends, welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about the forms of communication, which is a part of communication chapter. Okay friends. Now let us see. Forms of communication. Forms of communication. Okay friends. The forms of communication is divided into two types. Okay friends, it is classified into two types: oral or verbal communication and written or non-verbal forms of communication. Okay friends, there are various forms of oral and written communication as indicated below. Now let us see first of all the forms of oral or verbal communication. There are various forms of oral or verbal communication. These are instructions, interviews, grapevine, telephone, TikTok, complaints, lectures, meetings, rumors, face-to-face communication, and union channels, etc. Okay, friends. Uh, the forms of oral or verbal communications are instructions, interviews, grapevine, telephone, teletalk, complaints, lectures, meetings, rumors, face-to-face communication, union channels, etc. Okay friends, keep in mind, very important. And the forms of oral or verbal communication has various disadvantages. First of all, let us see advantages of forms of oral or verbal communication. The advantages of oral or verbal communications are: question can be asked and answered on the spot. This is one of the advantages of oral or verbal communication. Next, feedback is immediate and direct. Next advantage is the feedback of oral or verbal communication is immediate and direct. Next advantage is the receiver can sense the sender's sincerity. The receiver can sense the sender's sincerity. This is one of the advantages of oral or verbal communication. And the next advantage is oral communication is both more persuasive and less expensive than written. Okay friends. Next advantage of oral or verbal communication is both more persuasive and less expensive than written form of communication. Okay friends. And it has various disadvantages also. The disadvantages are it can lead to spontaneous ill-considered statements. It can lead to spontaneous ill-considered statements. And the next disadvantage is there is no permanent record of it. There is no permanent record of oral or verbal form of communication. Okay friends, these are the disadvantages of oral or verbal communication. Okay friends, so we can say that oral or verbal communication has advantages and disadvantages also. Lastly, let us see again the forms of oral or verbal communication, because it is very important. So guys, keep in mind. Instructions, the forms of oral or verbal communications are instructions, interviews, grapevine, telephone, teletalk, complaints, lectures, meetings, rumors, face-to-face communication, union channels, etc. Okay friends. Now let us see written or non-verbal communication. Okay friends. The forms of written or non-verbal communications are, okay friends, keep in mind, very important. The forms of written or non-verbal communications are: 1. Rules and regulations. Okay friends, this is also a form of written or non-verbal communications. Rules and regulation. Number 2, instructions handbook. Number 3, letters. Number 4, posters. Number 5, house magazines. Number 6, suggestions. Number 7, complaints. Number 8, policies. Number 9, orders, circulars, memos. Number 10, manuals. Number 11, L1 reports. Number 12, union periodicals. Number 13, reports. Number 14, grievance procedures, etc. These are the forms of written or non-verbal communication. Okay friends, keep in mind. Let us see once again. Number 1, rules and regulation. 2, instructions handbook. 3, letters. 4, posters. 5, house magazines. 6, suggestions. 7, complaints. 8, policies. 9, orders, circulars, memos. 10, manuals. 11, annual reports. 12, union periodicals. 13, reports. 14, grievance procedures, etc. These are the forms of written or non-verbal communication. Keep in mind. Okay friends, now let us see advantages of written or non-verbal communication. The advantages of uh, written or non-verbal communications are: 1, written messages are that the message can be revised several times. One of the most important advantages of written or non-verbal communication is written messages are that the message can be revised several times. Next advantage, number two advantage of written non-verbal communication is it is a permanent record that can be saved. Written or non-verbal communication is a permanent record that can be saved. Okay friends. The next, number 3 advantage of the written or non-verbal communication is the message stays the same even if relayed through many people. Okay friends. And the last, number 4, number 4 advantage of the written or non-verbal communication is the receiver has more time to analyze the message. That means the messenger can analyze many more time the message. Okay friends, this is one of the most important advantages of written or non-verbal form of communication. Now listen that this now let us see that these advantages of the written or non-verbal form of communication. The disadvantages are: number 1, the sender has no control over where and when or if the message is read. The sender does not receive immediate feedback. Number 1 disadvantage of written communication is the sender has no control over where and when or if the message is read. The message sender does not receive immediate feedback. This is one of the disadvantages of written or non-verbal form of communication. Now let us see the next disadvantage of written or non-verbal form of communication. The next disadvantage is the receiver may not understand parts of the message. Okay friends, the receiver may not understand parts of the message. This is one of the disadvantages of written form of communication. And the last third disadvantage of written form of communication is the message must be long enough to contain information to receive back anticipated answer to his queries. The message, okay friends, the message must be long enough to contain information to receive back anticipated answers to his queries. This is one of the disadvantages of written form of communication. Okay friends, today we have to know the forms of communication and the forms of oral or verbal communication and its advantages and disadvantages. And we have to know about the forms of written non-verbal communication. Okay friends, this much only for today. So if you are watching this video, please don't forget to subscribe this YouTube channel and click the bell icon for the next coming videos. Okay friends, thank you.